Spider-Man and Batman, two heroes from very different worlds with more in common than you might think. Picture Peter Parker, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, learning under the disciplined and unyielding guidance of the Dark Knight himself. Batman's unique approach to crime fighting and his unparalleled strategic mind, alongside of his experience in dealing with the darker side of heroism, would make him for an ideal mentor for somebody like Spider-Man. And that's what we're going to be discussing today. Why specifically someone like Batman would be the perfect mentor for someone like Peter Parker. Diving into how Bruce Wayne's influence could reshape Spider-Man into an even stronger and more balanced hero. Understanding the actual full-on methodology to these two characters being in the same kind of vicinity would just be a very interesting fact in almost any specific variation of this. And really just starting this off, the first main point would be having to talk about the fact that they both share experience and loss and responsibility. Both of these characters are characters that actively, truly, fully understand the meaning of loss. Batman and Spider-Man have both endured personal tragedy to a very high extent. Bruce Wayne lost his parents to crime, while Peter Parker lost his parents at an early age, and then lost his uncle because of a momentary lapse in judgment. This shared experience of loss isn't just a backstory. It's the core of their motives and their entire motivation of being a hero. Batman could offer Peter a unique perspective into channeling that pain without letting it consume him, and share wisdom on how grief can fuel and actively fuel a hero's purpose without kind of overwhelming their entire being and entire self. These two characters would actively just perfectly really align with each other, in my opinion, and it could really just kind of rub off on both of their ends into making them both better people and better heroes as a very big whole. And just really continuing on with that specific trajectory, it's the responsibility mindset that they just both have. Peter Parker's belief in "with great power comes great responsibility" aligns with Batman's own personal mission to protect Gotham at all cost. Batman would deeply respect Peter's sense of duty, and as his mentor, Bruce could teach Peter on how to balance the responsibility with self-care. Batman would encourage Peter to remember that he has a responsibility not only including taking care of himself, but also taking care of anybody else. And that is something that Peter can sometimes often struggle with. Remembering that himself is still a part of being actively Spider-Man. Peter can sometimes actively just be fully dwelled into the Spider-Man persona and not really like taking care of his own personal life, kind of letting things fall aside, whether it's relationships or things along that nature. And Bruce could actively teach him through his own intense journey on how he's kind of lived his life and just kind of grow Peter in a very, very, very nice way. So it would just be something very nice to kind of just see happening. Another thing that specifically Bruce would be able to help Peter out with is the strategic thinking and detective skills. Batman is hailed as one of the world's greatest detectives, while Spider-Man tends to rely more on his spider sense and intuition in high-stakes situations. By training with Batman, Peter could gain invaluable skills in investigation, forensics, and tactical planning that his skills would just basically grow tenfold. Skills that would sharpen his edge against even the most elusive villains. With Batman's influence, Spider-Man would have knowledge to go farther beyond than just his reflexes, becoming a more calculated and effective hero, growing and broadening his horizons by a tremendous amount. Batman's methodological approach could also help Spider-Man improved his combat strategy by quite a large margin, teaching him how to kind of look at the bigger picture rather than just making impulsive moves. With Batman's guidance, Peter could very well learn to control the pace of his fights, analyze his opponent's weaknesses, and utilize every tool at his disposal, specifically just trying to grow and kind of actively understand the field and the entire scope of everything that he does. Strategies that Batman has perfected against almost any of Gotham's villains already, and he could just very, very well pass it on in any full-on moment. Now, obviously, something that these both kind of could struggle with, but actually Batman has kind of gained a fairly good grasp on, is their mental fortitude and discipline. Batman has basically at this point mastered emotional resilience, a skill that Peter could have definitely benefited from. Spider-Man often wrestles with guilt and struggles to balance his hero life along with his personal relationships. Batman could guide him into developing a more mental discipline, helping Peter withstand the pressures of being a hero without letting it completely just break him. The way that Batman copes with Gotham's darkness could offer Peter a blueprint on handling the stress and pressures with even much of a greater control. I've already talked about this. Peter doesn't always do what's best for Peter and kind of sometimes focuses just so much more in Spider-Man, kind of letting everything else fall to the side, and Batman could really just help out with that entire kind of situation. Batman's intense self-discipline is also very legendary, which would be something that Peter could definitely also benefit from. Spider-Man's quick reflexes and impulsive nature sometimes get him into more trouble than he anticipates. Batman and Bruce's influence could encourage Peter to become more patient, making him a more composed and strategic hero, especially in high-tense situations. With this kind of discipline, it would just be crucial for somebody like Peter to reach his full potential. And something else that I actively do want to talk about is the fact that Peter would just be a perfect match for Batman for also the sheer reason of Peter is a character that very much resembles somebody that Bruce has already trained, and I honestly classify to be the best person that Bruce has ever actively trained and raised. Someone that everybody knows, everybody loves, this being Nightwing. Nightwing is a character that I honestly find very similar to Spider-Man in personality and fairly actually just correlation between each other due to the fact that they both have their agilic and just agileness, specifically with Dick's circus background and Spidey being Spidey. These two characters would have a lot and similar in common and could easily also benefit just from being able to work together because their strengths so very well match each other. Hence why I'm most likely going to be making a video just specifically on talking about a relationship between these two and how I think that would go. But just knowing that Batman has already done something like this with Nightwing, which obviously doesn't have the abilities of Spider-Man, but it also would just make it for a very much more simple time for Batman to kind of get these two characters, get a character like Spider-Man specifically, orchestrated and trained in the best way possible just because of the singular fact of it's someone similar to someone that he's already trained. And speaking of training, the physical training and combat skills that Peter could learn is astronomical. Bruce is a master of countless martial arts and is trained to take on enemies much stronger than himself. Peter might have superhuman abilities, but his fighting style often relies on his agility and quick reflexes. Batman could teach him more advanced combat techniques, improving his hand-to-hand combat and giving him new ways to handle his more physically dominant foes. Under Batman's rigorous training, Peter would most likely reach new physical peaks, and Batman's own training regimen is one of the most intensive in the world, and it would really push Peter to its limits, maximizing his endurance and refining his overall physical capabilities to an extremely high extent. This kind of physical and mental conditioning would give Spider-Man an advantage that even his superpowers can't fully provide. And to be fair, Batman's guidance could unlock Spider-Man's full potential. pushing him beyond this neighborhood friendly Spider-Man and drive him into a very much more higher level from the person that we all know. With Batman as his mentor, Peter Parker could easily become more calculated, resilient, and a more balanced hero, equipped with the strategic mind and discipline that even his most challenging foes would just not be able to truly overcome. In the end, a partnership between these two heroes could lead to truly remarkable alliances, and it is one that just embodies the best of Gotham's grit and New York's hope. So, who knows? Maybe one day, if in an alternate universe, we could possibly see these two characters actually fight side by side in another kind of DC Marvel crossover event. But with all that said and done, this is where I'm going to be leaving the video off. If you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you guys can get caught up with all the latest videos that I do be posting. As you guys have already seen, I've been posting quite a lot this week, and if you guys have any other videos that you guys might want me to do, please put them down in the comments and I will make them as fast as possible. I've been trying to get back into doing this content a little more frequently, and this week was just like a test to me trying to post as much as physically and just physically possible. So it has worked out fairly well, but for obviously I'm not going to be able to do this at all in every given moment in time. So we'll see exactly how that all turns out. But if you guys did enjoy this, as I already said, leave a like, comment down, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.